Ai squeal, I quinasilam nama, and thapakwasaltanat tanitsanat snanemo. Hello everybody, thank you for joining me. My traditional name is Quisaltanat, my English name is Michelle, and it's good to see you all today. Thanks for joining us. So today we're going to make a little rattle. Our rattle will be made out of a little piece of ABS pipe. We're going to use some artificial sinew. You're going to need a darning needle. And also I've got some little noise makers. These are just some BBs. And then you also need just some elastic bands. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your 2 pieces of hide, and for these packages I've mostly used elk hide, and I've had them soaking in room temperature water for about 5 to 6 hours. You can make that shorter, like down to an hour if you use warmer water, but it's better for the hide if you use just room temperature water. So take that out of the water. Just use a piece of paper towel and just dry it off just a little bit, not too much. We have about 1 hour to make these little rattles, and then after that the hide is going to dry out too much for us to use. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to look at your hide and you're going to find the beautiful side. So the beautiful side is the side that you want to go out, and it generally is the smooth side. If you look really closely, sometimes you can see the hair follicles. So that's what you're going to want to look for. Sometimes on the other side, there's all sorts of different little things. You can see little lines. Sometimes you can see some little stuff hanging off of it. So you're going to find the beautiful side, and you're going to put the beautiful side down. So put both pieces down in front of you on the beautiful side, and then pick one to be the bottom. So I'm going to choose this one to be the bottom. It really doesn't matter which piece is the bottom. And then you're going to take your piece of artificial sinew, you're going to open it all up. It's kind of just got a waxy covering on it. Don't worry, that'll wash away once you wash your hands with some soap. You're going to put your darning needle on just about that far. You're not going to tie it on, you're just going to leave it hanging. And then the second side has a little loop. Not quite sure, I call it a drum making knot, but some people call it a fisherman's knot, and I've tied that for you. So you're going to go through the top side down. So you're going to go through one hole, the hole that's closest to you. And if you have a little person helping you, you can have them do the actual sewing part. You might need to help pull it through. And then if you have a little person helping you, they can just walk with the needle until it gets to the end. So you're just going to pull that through, or have your little person walk and then tell them to stop once you get closer. If yours has a little tail like mine did, I feed the tail right through as well. Then you're going to put your needle through the little loop. That's going to tie you onto the hide. So you're officially tied onto the hide. Okay. Next, you're going to put your little piece of ABS pipe right in the middle. You're going to take your bag of BBs. If you wanted to go more traditional, you could gather some little pebbles from outside and you could put those into your rattle. I use these because they're nice and noisy. So I put about 20 of the noise makers in there, and just put your baggie to the side. Then you're going to take your second piece of hide, and remember we've put it face down, so we know what side's the good side already. And you want that face to be facing up. The nice side is going to go up. So we want those nice sides to be on the bottom side and the top side, so that when we're done, it's going to look beautiful. So I like to align where my holes are, and so I stagger them. So it's a little bit hard to show you, but if on the bottom my piece is right there, when I put the top on, it's going to go in between. Does that make sense? So it's going to kind of look like that, so you can zigzag. So when you sew, it's going to zigzag. So you're going to put that on, place it in the right spot. Now this is the important part. You don't want to lose your BBs or your marbles or your pebbles. So you're going to use your palm and you're going to hold that in place. So now I'm going to use my needle and I'm going to go down from the top down. I'm just going to adjust a little bit. So I'm going to go into that first hole that's closest to where I've already attached it, and then I'm going to go from the bottom side up, and so I'm going to sew all the way around. So I go, when I get up to the top side, I'm going to go down. So if you have a little person helping you, get them to do the sewing, and then they can walk with the needle until you say stop. And you don't have to do that too tightly. You can just kind of do it somewhat loosely. Not too loose because you don't want it to fall apart. And then as you twist, you can twist the whole thing. Just make sure that you keep your palm on there to hold it all in one place. I'm just about all the way around, kind of nice and loose. Oops, just put one under that spot. So I've now gone through all the holes, and at the very last one, you're going to go through the hole, your very beginning hole. It just completes the look. So once you've gone all the way through, kind of put the extra sinew down, and then you're going to start at your very beginning spot. That's the spot that has the loop. It's tied on, and sometimes it has a bit of a tail sticking out. And you're going to pull that up and push it with your thumb, and then you're going to tighten. So you're going to go all the way around. Keep your hand on, your palm on there flat so that you don't lose those noise makers until it's all nice and tight. So I just kind of twist and turn and I pull it, and I'm going to do this probably twice in order to get it nice and tight. You might need to do that 3 times. So you can see that it's getting nice and tight, but it's not quite there yet. This one isn't quite the same as a drum. You don't have to pull it really tight because the sound is actually going to come from those little noise makers inside. It's not going to come from banging the little rattle. So I'm going to start again, and I'm going to go my second round. I'm going to pull it a little bit tighter. As I pull it tighter, I'm going to be careful of those holes. And if I see them stretching too much, I'm not going to pull it too tight on that hole. But I am pulling it. I can see the hide stretching just a little as I pull on each of the pieces here as I go around. So I'm getting just a little bit of slack. You can see the slack that I'm pulling out as I go around. So there, I've gone around twice. I feel like it's nice and tight as I look at it. I know I can pick it up without losing any marbles. And I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to finish it off. So how I finish it off, I like to cover up that little bit of a tail. I cut it to match the length, or I cut it so that it's quite short. You can see that. So I cut it short, and then I'm going to do a little half hitch loops. So to do that, I hold this piece of sinew up, I go underneath the line, the first line that we did, and then I pull it and I do my half hitch. So you can see that I've kind of gone through the middle of that loop that I created. So I'm going to do that probably, I like to do it all the way up that first piece that I made, the first piece of sinew. So That's twice. If you're working with a little person, you can help them. They can help you to do this piece. That's 3. I'm just about past that little tail, so it'll be easier once I'm through that tail. That's 4. That's 5. That's 6. 7. 8. 9, and as I go you can see that they're all going beside each other. Don't put them all on top of each other, otherwise you're just going to be putting knots on top of each other. I'm going to trim a little piece of that tail that stuck out a little bit, kind of frayed and stuck out. That's 10, just about done. 11, 12, 13. I don't want to end on an odd number. I'm going to end with 14 knots right there. Actually, I'm going to end with 16 knots. In our Coast Salish culture, we believe of doing things in groups of 4. So whenever I can, I try to do things in groups of 4. So then I've got 16 little knots, and I'm going to trim the end of that off. We're just about done making your drum. In each of your packages, I put 4 elastic bands. It's up to you whether you use them. If you let it dry like this, you can see that these little guys are going to bow out just a little bit, and some people like their drums or their rattles like that. But I like to have mine so that they dry quite flat. So I just take one of my, I kind of squish it down with my hand, and then I take one of my elastics and I stretch it. And I put it over. It doesn't matter if it goes over the whole thing each time because you're going to put 2 elastics on. So there's one. I'm going to do another one. Make sure that I get all of the spots kind of locked down a little bit. That's 2. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to do the other side. Kind of squish it with your hands first. There's 1. There's 2. And then we're going to put the second elastic on. And you can take these off in about a day when it's all nice and dry. So there you go. There's your little drum. You're going to let it dry on its side, kind of just like this. You might rotate it a little bit while it's drying for 24 hours, but if you shake it on the side where the plastic is, you've got sound right away. But you kind of want to make sure that you're not pushing on this hide or you're going to stretch it out. All right, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed making your little rattle.